What if the people who truly build wealth weren't the ones constantly talking about money? While most chase high salaries and luxury cars, there are hidden millionaires walking among us, applying a completely different logic. In this video, I'll show you 5 subtle signs that only people with silent wealth possess. And if you have at least 3 of them, it means you're on the right path to lasting prosperity. The last one might completely change your view on money and freedom. Let's get straight to the point. 1. The truly wealthy avoid the 3 Ps: pay, prices, possessions. People who build silent wealth avoid 3 traps that most fall into without realizing: pay, prices, and possessions. They don't compete by showing how much they earn, don't flaunt how much they spend, and don't need flashy assets to feel validated. In the United States, studies show that 70% of millionaires drive cars over 3 years old, not because they can't afford new ones, but because money is a tool, not a symbol. If you can resist these 3 temptations, you're closer to real wealth than you think. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Apply this now. Next time you feel the urge to share your salary or compare what you have with others, stop and ask whether that brings you closer to or further from financial freedom. The practical action is simple. Eliminate conversations about how much you earn, how much things cost, and what you own. Here's the objective threshold. If more than 50% of your money conversations revolve around status or comparison, you're losing the game. Reduce that percentage to less than 20% over the next 4 weeks. Track how many conversations you mention salary, price, or possessions. If it exceeds twice per week, correct immediately. This forces your mind to seek internal validation, not external. But avoiding the 3 Ps is just the beginning, because now comes the behavior that separates those who accumulate from those who multiply, and if you don't master this in the next 60 seconds, you'll keep leaving money on the table without even noticing. 2. Mastering delayed gratification. True silent wealth is built slowly, with discipline defeating impulse every single day. While most seek immediate pleasure, the expensive dinner, the unnecessary upgrade, the emotional purchase, those who accumulate millions prefer the long term without hesitation. Data shows that American millionaires take on average 17 years to reach their first million, consistently saving 20% of their annual income. If you can delay gratification and maintain focus on the future, even when nobody's applauding, you have one of the rarest signs of Stoic mentality applied to money. Epictetus taught, "No great thing is created suddenly, for it is made of many small parts." Act now. Identify a purchase you've postponed for months due to financial discipline and celebrate that decision mentally. You're doing it right. Wealth building is invisible, unglamorous, made of consistency that nobody sees. Here's the practical test. Project how much of your monthly income can go straight to the future. The ideal range is between 10 and 20% of your budget. Before choosing any investment, review the performance history of the last 5 to 10 years for greater security. If you can set aside this percentage every month without fail for at least 6 consecutive months, you've mastered delayed gratification. If you can't yet, start with 5% and increase 1 point each quarter until you reach 20. But delaying gratification alone isn't enough, because in the next minute you'll discover the mistake that destroys entire fortunes and has everything to do with how you spend, not how much you earn. 3. They don't buy status. Real millionaires prioritize financial independence, not social approval. And this is one of the clearest marks of those who build lasting wealth. They understand that every dollar spent to look rich is a dollar that stops working for you, multiplying silently over the years. One phrase sums it up: the time and money used to appear superior usually lead to inferior results. If you can ignore social pressure and choose freedom over appearance, you possess one of the most powerful money habits that exist. Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has little, but the man who desires more, who is poor." Put this into practice right now. Before buying any status item, designer clothes, new gadget, expensive dinner just to impress, ask whether it gives you freedom or ties you more to work. The behavior is intentional and discreet, never impulsive. Take the test. If you spend more than 5% of your monthly income on items whose sole purpose is to impress other people, you're buying status, not wealth. Reduce that percentage to less than 2% over the next 3 months. Analyze your purchases from the last quarter and identify how many were motivated by external validation. If more than 3, it's time to adjust. Status is the enemy of financial freedom. Those who understand this stop competing and start accumulating. But if you think avoiding status is already powerful, wait until you discover the next sign, because this one alone is worth the entire list. 4. They avoid small leaks at all costs. Discreet, wealthy people are obsessed with avoiding small but cumulative losses. That daily $5 coffee, forgotten subscriptions, ignored bank fees. It seems minor, but $5 per day becomes $1,800 per year. In 10 years, with compound interest at 7%, this transforms into over $25,000 lost. They know where every dollar goes and track budget, assets, and expenses, not out of stinginess, but intentionality. Every expense has purpose. If you can identify and eliminate these leaks without mercy, you have one of the most valuable subtle signs of Stoic mentality applied to money. Marcus Aurelius taught, "Confine yourself to the present." When you live in the present with full attention, you stop spending on autopilot and start questioning every financial decision you make. Most people bleed money because they don't pay attention. Charges renew themselves, small purchases add up unnoticed, fees are accepted without review. Those who have awareness of the present have control of the future. Now the practical part. Add up all monthly expenses that happen automatically. Subscription services, recurring deliveries, plans you forget about. If this total exceeds $100 and you don't actively use at least 80% of these services, you're bleeding money. Cut everything that hasn't been used in the last 30 days. Wealth is built both by earning and preserving money, and those who protect every small dollar eventually accumulate millions. But even protecting every penny, there's something silent millionaires understand about money that goes beyond accumulating. And this is the final sign that changes everything. 5. They understand that value surpasses money. Time is the most valuable asset, and people with silent wealth treat every hour as if it were irreplaceable. While most measure success in accumulated dollars, discreet millionaires measure in freedom gained. Freedom to refuse projects that drain energy, freedom to spend time with those who matter, freedom to seek purpose beyond salary. They prioritize experiences, learning, relationships, and meaning, seeking emotional, intellectual, and spiritual return, not just financial. If you understand that true wealth is internal, time, autonomy, and peace, you possess the rarest sign of all, silent growth guided by values, not numbers. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have little time, but that we waste much of it." Reflect on this. How many hours do you trade for money that will never be used with intention? How many weekends do you sacrifice for a higher salary without questioning whether it's worth it? Those who master this logic stop accumulating blindly and start building a life that makes sense, with enough money to sustain it. The practice is challenging but essential. Calculate how many hours you work per week and divide by your weekly net salary. That's the real value of your hour. Now ask, Does this number justify the time you're selling? If you earn $50 per hour but lose peace, health, and relationships in the process, the real price is much higher. Consider that discreet millionaires tend to be philanthropic precisely because they find meaning in contribution, not empty accumulation. Bonus sign: they never neglect their health. Have you noticed that truly wealthy people play sports, go to the gym regularly, and invest in prevention like someone protecting a valuable asset? It's no coincidence. They understand that fortune without health is just a bank account waiting to be drained in hospitals. While most sacrifice sleep, nutrition, and exercise in the name of productivity, discreet millionaires treat the body as the most important asset. If it fails, everything else collapses. In the United States, high net worth executives spend an average of $5,000 annually on preventive health, personal trainers, complete exams, nutritionists. The Romans already knew, mens sana in corpore sano, a sound mind in a sound body. Marcus Aurelius, even while governing an empire, dedicated daily hours to exercise and reflection because he understood that mental clarity depends on physical vitality. There's no point accumulating millions if you don't have energy to enjoy it, willingness to work, or years of life to experience it. Health isn't luxury, it's foundation. Make an honest assessment. Do you sleep at least 7 hours per night? Do you move regularly? Have you visited a doctor in the last 12 months? If the answer is no to 2 or more of these questions, you're building wealth on quicksand. Start with the basics: 30-minute walks, fixed sleep schedule, and scheduled annual exams. True wealth requires you to be alive, healthy, and lucid to enjoy it. Throughout this video, you've discovered that subtle signs reveal who's building silent wealth. And these behaviors have nothing to do with high salary or luck. They're daily choices, invisible to most, that separate those who accumulate durably from those who merely look rich. If you recognized at least 3 of these signs in yourself, you're on the right path. If not, you now know exactly what you need to change to build prosperity that nobody sees, but you feel every day. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these signs do you already have? Leave it in the comments. I read everyone. And if this video brought you value, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who's rethinking how they handle money. And since this topic caught your attention, check out another video on the subject in the end screen. I'm sure you'll find it really useful. Stay on the path of prosperity. Until we meet again.